Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of We Watch Shudder. Holy cows, you guys. It's another double feature day. What? Who's that just went woo?
Well, who's the one who started with the woo?
Oh, you go first.
Okay, hi everybody. It's Michelle.
Hey, it's Michelle.
Hey.
That would mean I'm probably JD.
Probably.
Probably.
I hope so.
Yeah, you're listening to
Yeah.
we one of these days we'll figure out how to start these episodes, you guys.
I think
or
we've
probably
nailed
not.
it.
You know
we
what?
got it.
You're
Perfect.
right. I think people have probably grown accustomed to us being weird and awkward. It's double feature day. We got two movies to talk about today. Michelle, what are the movie? Well, we don't need to tell them what the other one is. They'll find out on their own. What's the one we're talking about right now?
The one we're going to talk about right now is called Glorious.
Glorious.
You have to pronounce it like that too.
Yeah.
It's a rule.
Yeah, it just like Bobby Roode's entrance music in the WWE, where it goes glorious.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I understand that reference 100%. Wrestling's fun.
Yeah, so Glorious. Glorious is one of the films we're talking about here today. As you know, we watch Shudder original and exclusives. This one is a Shudder original. Michelle, do you by chance have the Shudder website pulled up in front of you?
I do. Do you want me to read it?
Please read to these people the full description direct from the Shudder website of this film here called Glorious.
Oh, man, this is a big day. I've never gotten to do this part before. Okay.
Well, see, what happened is it occurred to me out of the blue that I've pretty much done like the start and the descriptions in every single episode we've done, and I realized that I should probably let you do that sometimes because we're partners in this venture. And so, yeah, I'm trying to be a better me, Michelle.
Okay.
I'm
Well, I
trying to be a
appreciate
better
you
me.
making the description that I get to read the movie where it is only one sentence. I
know.
appreciate
Well,
that.
I'm gonna let you do the next one too.
Oh my gosh, I get a whole three sentences. Anyway.
They are two of the shortest descriptions we've ever gotten from Shudder. Okay, we're recording an episode. Read the description of the movie.
We are. I'm trying. Okay.
Sorry.
The description from the Shudder website for Glorious is a heartbroken man finds himself trapped in a bathroom with a strange voice who says he may be the only hope in stopping a terrible event. A Shudder original. JD!
Yes.
Why don't you hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts?
I would love to. Glorious is a movie that I really wanted to like a lot. And I only ended up liking somewhat. I like the first 90% of the film a whole lot more than I like the last 10%. I really was involved in where this was leading. I was curious. I was on board. I wanted to see where everything was going. And then where it went just was like, oh, that's what we're doing? Well, okay. Like I said, I enjoyed most of the film. It's got a lot of good qualities. It just, in the long run, is not exactly for me. I'm going to give this one a right down the middle, 2.5 skulls.
All right, 2.5 skulls out of 5 from my co-host, JD.
Yeah.
I was curious what your reaction to this was going to be because I really did not know how you'd feel about it. When I finished watching the film and I had made my decision, I went to look at the ratings, and this is a very divisive movie.
Okay.
There are people who love it, and there are people who hate it, and there's very few middle of the road. You tend to be kind of middle of the road on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I fall on the love it side.
Oh, right on.
I really enjoyed this movie. There's a slightly likable guy down on his luck, but still somewhat likable, put in a weird situation with a man in a bathroom, and that's just the making of a successful movie for me. I enjoyed it a lot. I would probably watch it again if I was in the mood to do that. I will actually give it a 4.25.
You know what? I do want to make one small modification to this.
Whoa.
I am because there is one thing I do want to point out about this movie that I especially loved, and especially in light of the other movie we're going to talk about in the next episode. But this movie is only 79 minutes long. It's a very quick and easy watch. You know what? Let's bump this up to a full 3 skulls. Like I said,
Okay.
It's got plenty of stuff about it that I liked. The first 90% was great. I just didn't like the dismount. The bad dismount can certainly affect a movie pretty significantly, but let's give this a 3 skulls for at least having the decency to only take up 80 minutes of my life.
Excellent. So 3 from JD, 4.25 from me, aka Michelle. So that gives it an average rating of 3.625 skulls out of 5 skulls. I also want to know what that 0.625 skull looks like. That person had a terrible misfortune befall them before they became a skull.
I
wanna
feel
see
like
it.
that's going to be like everything from the like you'd be missing everything from like below the eye sockets. So the upper and lower jaws would be gone, but you'd still have the brain cranium area.
Perfect. Efficient eating if I just have like a mouthful with no bones.
Yes!
On board with that idea. Okay,
Awesome.
well, now we're going to kick it into the spoiler country.
Oh, no.
So,
Oh no.
I'm so sorry if this is your first episode. Thank you for tuning in. We sometimes tone it back, but not tonight.
Oh, no.
So if you do not want Glorious to be spoiled for you, you should probably pause that recording. Hit the pause button right now.
There you go.
Okay, we have entered spoiler territory. JD, would you like to start?
Yeah, I'd love to start on Glorious. This movie, as I said, I was really on board for a lot of it. I like the way it develops. It's so this dude is very mysterious. We do learn as we go along quite a bit about what was actually this guy's story. We kind of just drop in the middle of a clearly tense time in this fella's life. And then he has a drunken night at a rest stop, meets this weird lady at the rest stop who helps him get some candy out of the machine, gets drunk at the rest area, and then the next day, oh shit, his life goes completely fucking haywire. I loved so much about this movie. I loved the design of it. I thought the look was great. I thought they did an incredible job of this is a very minimalist movie, right? Like the inside of an old rest area bathroom and the area surrounding that rest area is basically the entire setting for this movie. And the set dressers made that bathroom just look so grimy and so awful. And honestly, I've been in some rest area bathrooms. It makes me feel like maybe they didn't have to do a whole lot to actually make it look that bad. But that was great. I thought the movie looked beautiful. JK Simmons as the voice of the creature and or person in that bathroom stall was great. He's an incredible voice performer. The movie is very funny. Right, it's super, super funny along the way. I got a kick out of the whole gimmick of it. Yeah, it's called Glorious because, as you know, obviously there's the whole glory hole scenario there, and that pays off.
You would be surprised how many people did not understand that reference when I was looking up
that's
other people's
so
reviews.
Weird.
I was really surprised because that's a very good name for this movie.
Yeah, it is. Like this dude, basically,
It's a glory hole.
he hears a voice through the glory hole claiming to be a god creature from another dimension, and this dude is the only person who can help this god creature stop the god creature's father creature from destroying the universe. And like some of the special effects when they cut to that flashback or whatever, and those worm tentacle things start coming out of that lady's eyes, fuck you. That was that messed me up. Like it was so good. I was really on board with the what's really going on here. Is this guy is he on some sort of weird fucking acid trip, or is what's happening here like is it really what it seems to be? And in the long run, I guess it seems like it really was what it claimed to be, but the ending was so limp. The monster just gets him to kill himself, and then it's like, oh, surprise! It turns out this guy's been a serial killer this whole time for apparently no reason at all, except to use it as a convenient out on explaining why this guy was parallel to the monster thing. I really was with it all the way through until we got to that last big chunk where they give the real final details of what's going on, and I found the ending very, very lackluster and disappointing to the degree where it really knocked down my ability to appreciate the movie quite a bit.
Okay.
That was a long ranty way of
No, that's okay. Counter argument.
Yeah.
Not even so much an argument, but the ending did not feel well developed, but I didn't mind the reveal that he was a serial killer and that this guy who I had said, was likable, and that's partially why this movie works. This movie would not work, or I mean, it might work. I can't envision it working as well as it did if it was not Christian, I believe Quantin is his last name, if it was not him in that role with JK Simmons' voice. I think those two paired up is so good. They make the lead guy, whose real name I actually don't know, it is Wes, right?
Wes,
so,
yeah.
They make Wes so likable and funny, and he's down on his luck. Isn't that kind of sad? What a pathetic man. And then it turns out that he's kind of an evil asshole. And I like that reveal that after all of this, that's why kind of these things happen to him. I do wish it had been fleshed out a little bit more because it does happen very quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a 70-minute movie. They could have added a few more minutes at the end and then even take some stuff out in the middle, and it would have been fine. They definitely had some room to add that. It does feel like it ended on a very fast note, even if they had been a little bit more flashback. There just needed to be a little bit more.
I was going to say, I don't think they even necessarily needed to do more flashbacks because there were several flashback sequences throughout the movie. I think they could have just used those flashback sequences better to slowly let us in on what was really going on with Wes and Brenda, rather than literally spending 90% of the movie. Like, I was like, okay, so like we always obviously we assume either they're separated or probably she's dead, but there's nothing at all at any point whatsoever that even hints or suggests at the idea that she's dead because he killed her. Like, it just comes out of left field with no build-up or no development. Like, it didn't feel earned, right? They just threw it at me, and then it was like, oh, and also, like, the whole element of, like, it had to be you because you're an awful monster that destroys things the same way I destroy things by nature. So it had to be, it almost, in a way, like, it felt like they were giving this awful, terrible serial killer person some sort of redemption angle. Like, oh, you get to be a not terrible person because you saved the universe. I thought the whole ending just threw the whole thing completely into disjointed, muddled chaos that made it unenjoyable.
Interesting. I did not feel that way. I didn't actually even feel so blindsided by the reveal. It made sense to me because there is an exchange earlier in the film when he meets the ex-girlfriend. I just have to have names pulled up. This is like 3 people in the
Brenda
cast.
is the girlfriend. Yep.
I just need to write these down, but I won't.
Yeah, how am I the name rememberer?
Yeah. So when he meets Brenda at a party, there's a very weird exchange where she's saying, like, are you stalking that other girl?
Oh, sure.
And there's clearly something going on. You can tell in these flashbacks. So when it's revealed, like, oh, he killed her. Oh, okay. Like, to me, that was not as surprising. I felt like they could have added a little bit more to suggest that he was that kind of fucked up, but I think it was apparent he had done something bad and that his girlfriend was dead, and I was actually thinking like drunk driving and she was a passenger and he
Sure.
had killed her inadvertently.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, is like she's dead through some like awful mistake or tragedy or something that he's tied into. But not that. And here's an interesting thing, though, that so this movie was directed by Rebecca McKendry, and it's interesting to me that you say you didn't find that reveal quite so surprising, and I gotta be honest with you, I do find, because that's an interesting thing that you point out, that sequence where Brenda and Wes first meet, that flashback where it's this very cutesy sort of thing where she sees him checking out another girl and calls him a stalker, or asks him if he's a stalker. That all struck me very much as totally innocuous. As just like, she just caught him checking out another girl and is giving him shit. Whereas you saw it as, and what's interesting to me about that is I do have to ask myself right away, how much of that is because I'm not a woman, right? Like, how much of that is informed by like signs and signals and vibes that you may be in tune to pick up on because of having to live in the experience and culture that women have to deal with in modern society. I'm curious if that maybe is part of what made you think there's something up about this guy, because I didn't suspect him as a bad guy for a moment.
And I did have kind of that consideration, but part of it too is I'm used to men in horror movies killing women. So
well, there's that too. Yeah,
I'm very, very used to that. So when there's something slightly off, I'm like, oh, this dude murdered her somehow.
There is definitely that.
Definitely,
you make
I
a
might be a
strong
little bit
point.
more perceptive, but I watch a lot of movies where bad things happen to women, and I go, oh, right, yeah, of course it did. Of course bad things happen to women. So I picked up on that scene and went, there is something off here. And I picked up like he might actually be stalking this woman, and he probably was. And then he met this other girl instead. I do want to go back and comment on your part about how it felt like he had a redemption arc. And I, again, had kind of an opposite reaction, where I felt like he thought he was getting a redemption arc, but he is completely slapped down and told, no, you're going to die. You are going to be forgotten. No one gives a shit. Goodbye. I thought it was very much slapping in his face that, no, you don't get a redemption arc. This is because you're a bad person. Have fun in hell, dipshit. Like I very much took it as not allowing him to have that glory.
I think that's definitely what the narrative and the script tried to do. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, as an observer, like, this guy voluntarily cut his own liver out to stop the universe from being destroyed, regardless of whether the people in the narrative are going to remember him. From my moral perspective as a third-party omniscient viewer, like, I know what this guy did, right? And, like, how am I supposed to interpret that? I don't know. I don't mean to suggest that it necessarily was trying to do that. It just kind of felt that way to me to a certain degree. And that is part of why that's part of the overall muddling of the end there. I just was so uncertain of how I was supposed to interpret anything.
Interesting, because
I know,
polar opposite over here.
Wow.
I thought he was acting in his own selfish interest to not really redeem himself with this lady, but be like, oh, well, I guess I died too. He even says people do good things for selfish reasons. They don't do it because they're actually good people. And it makes such a huge point of that he did this thing not to save the world, but to save himself. he would have died regardless. So he was like, okay, well, I guess I'll try this. And he expected to live after, I think. So then when he died, he was like, what? I thought I was going to be alive forever and I'm a hero. So I find this really interesting how much we directly like contradict on so much of this ending.
Right.
It's fascinating to me. That's what I love
awesome.
about movies.
But yeah, overall, like I thought it was really, really well made. Like I said, I love when a movie is able to take a minimalist setting and still manage to do something very interesting with it. Movies as varied as like a Reservoir Dogs or Cube. Have you ever seen Cube?
Cube is one of my all-time favorite movies, including Cube 2, Hypercube, and I believe Cube 0 is the name of the third movie, which I have also seen multiple times despite being awful. I am a Cube diehard fan. I watched Cube all the time growing up. It was on Sci-Fi Channel every weekend. You came to the right place to talk about Cube, sir.
I have never seen any of them beyond the original, but the original is fantastic. And again, a
Cube
movie
2 is
that
bad, but you should watch it.
A movie that did so much with such minimal space, right? Like even though they're moving from room to room, it's the same room every time. And
it's
like I said,
the same set too every time. They just change the colors.
They did so much with this one location and set in the whole movie. Another element of this, by the way, that drove me nuts that I do want to make sure I mention is that lady at the beginning clearly is part of this somehow, and they like she's just there and she's cryptic and she says weird things and she makes the machine work and then she puts weird paper things on the table and then she's gone and she's like, that's just it. We never come back and tell us anything about that lady. I just
That's weird because every time I've gone to a gas station, there's definitely been a weird cryptic lady who helps fix one of the broken machines and leaves paper everywhere. I thought that was just a normal human experience. So she did not seem out of nowhere to me. I actually would have been more alarmed if they didn't have her in this film because I'd be like, why did they omit the gas station lady who is living everywhere and omnipresent and just with us all the time?
Are you mocking me right now, Michelle?
No, but I do have to just say I need pictures of Spider-Man. I want him to say it once, just once. Please, Gott. I need you to say I need pictures of Spider-Man. JK Simmons. What are you thinking? Jonah Jameson.
Oh. Yeah,
Oh,
so that's glorious. I think in a nutshell from Michelle and I. Like I said, I definitely think it's worth a movie worth checking out. Rather, is what I'm trying to say. Michelle definitely got more out of it from a story angle than I did, but I don't think you'd be wasting your time whatsoever to see this movie again, especially because it's only 79 minutes and it is really cool visually. There's some awesome special effects in this, some really great creepy set designs. It's really cool. So yeah, I don't
squelching.
Yeah,
like
lots of
squelching
squelching. If you I did make extensive note of how many times I want to know who does the subtitles for Shudder because they like to say squelching a lot.
It's the perfect word. It describes all these movies so well.
It is.
I'm going to get a tattoo that just says squelching.
It's almost onomatopoeic. Almost.
I love it.
Squelching. Well, that's all the squelching we have for this episode of We Watch Shudder. Of course, it's double feature day, so we got another one that you'll be able to listen to right away. And then we have a bunch of old ones that you can listen to. They're great old ones, just like, you get it. Anyway, Michelle.
Reference.
Yeah, right? Michelle, where can people hear all those lovely episodes?
So they can check it out wherever they stream podcasts now. So if it's on Spreaker or if it's on Spotify, we're on Spotify now. Or
yeah, we finally said
Play,
fine.
Google
Spotify will let you distribute our podcast.
Yeah. However, you're listening to this episode, you can keep doing that with the other episodes.
Oh yeah, I suppose
faith in you.
they probably already know how to listen to the podcast if they're
who knows? Maybe they got lost.
look. We told you at the beginning that this was going to be a weird one, and it's been a weird
A
one.
very
That's for
squelchy
sure. It's a
episode.
very squelchy, very purple, very purple episode.
I was gonna say it is a purple movie.
It is very,
It's so
and it was
purpley,
very purple.
squelchy.
Yep.
Yep.
It was a purpley,
Purple, squelchy
squelchy movie. All right,
It's like a
so-
one-eyed, one-arm flying purple squelchy monster.
Exactly.
Okay.
Love it.
Enough.
All right,
We need
guys.
to stop.
So yeah, and make sure you check us out on Facebook and Instagram at We Watch Shudder. We're gonna have a Twitter soon and probably a TikTok sometime
But
soon.
the TikTok, it's gonna be funny. I have a feeling we're very funny. I think I'm hilarious.
Well,
So
I'm-
if no one else likes my TikToks, oh my God, where was TikTok when I spent an entire afternoon watching the Bee movie for the first time and then making 1-minute video segments of my reactions? I could go upload those. I have 30 minutes of Bee movie content.
Oh my God! No, please do not upload 30 minutes of B movie content to the We Watch Shudder TikTok. I would appreciate it if you didn't. do that.
I do not agree to that, but I will consider your request.
Oh, hey, guys, also, I want to make sure to point out to everybody, I want to say a quick shout out to, we met Alex over in London a while back, and we also just recently heard from Isabel over in Germany. Hello, Isabel. I hope you're listening to the episode. Thank you for dropping
Hallo,
us a
wie
line.
geht's?
Oh, do you
Ich
speak
bin
German?
30 und dos años.
Oh, wow.
I did speak German in high school.
Please
We had
don't-
some German foreign exchange students. Do you know Esther? She's great.
Yeah, everybody
was
in
such a
Germany
doll.
knows everybody. There's only one Esther there. If
Yep.
you guys are listening to us out there in the world, please shoot us a line on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you want to. Drop us a review or a comment wherever you're listening to the podcast. We would love to know who's enjoying what we do. I think that covers just about everything, Michelle.
I think so. I think this has been a very satisfying episode from our perspective. I hope the listeners agree. If you don't, please be kind. We are sad, sad people.
We're having a great Thursday night. Say good night,
my God.
Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.